Hi, this is Robert Reiss on the CEO Forum, and we're here today with Jay Contessa. How are you, Jay?
I am great, Robert. How are you?
Very well, thanks, now that you're here. And I'm feeling cleaner because you're the CEO of Hex Performance. Talk about what Hex Performance is.
Hex Performance is a brand new item into the laundry category. It was developed by an athlete, Drew Westervelt, who you're going to meet today. And it's probably the first real innovation, and I'm come from the laundry category, and I'll say 50 years, because it does something that no other detergents do in the marketplace today.
And this is exciting because Drew is right here. Drew is professional star athlete in lacrosse, first round pick. And talk about what happened. You'd been playing lacrosse for about 6 years, since 2007, and something emerged that you stopped being just an athlete and you noticed a real problem.
Yeah, so I was reading a lot about big time athletes or NFL athletes that were getting MRSA and staph issues. So me traveling and playing lacrosse and playing in a lot of the same venues, kind of took an interest in that and figured, well, why aren't these issues being prevented instead of just tried to cover up every time something pops up. So started thinking about it'd be really cool if there was a proactive approach to this and really something that could clean and prevent on the commercial side.
And this is really just for you as an athlete. You were concerned about it. You're
Sure.
seeing all of your compadres.
Sure, like one of the more well-known players in lacrosse, John Grant Jr., almost lost a knee because of MRSA. So, it was a big issue, and it was hitting home for me. So traveling around playing in these different venues, so it would be cool to come up with something that would mitigate this issue.
And indoor lacrosse, which you played, for New York, you played, and then you played Colorado. It's different because they'll usually have a hockey rink, like
Sure.
for the NFL, and then just lay a mat down.
Sure, the turf's just rolled right over the ice. You play the game, it's rolled back up till next week, and there's some inherent issues there when there's...
And blood is coming out,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it creates all sorts of problems.
Exactly. So we had to build a product that was really effective on synthetics, meaning turf, and a lot of other surfaces that would clean and protect and last for a while. Where I got lucky was I was traveling, and one day I had to do my own laundry, and I was gifted performance apparel from a lot of the emerging brands like Under Armour and Nike. As from an athlete perspective, my gear was all synthetic. So I couldn't clean it when I got home with my traditional laundry products now. So it kind of, created a light bulb go off of, hey, maybe this stuff I'm messing with on the commercial side would be a real solution for the challenges I have as a young single guy trying to wash my own stuff.
Was that actually like one night you're about to wash and you said, hey, maybe I do this and maybe I give it a shot? And
yeah, I had partnered with a cleaning consultant and a chemist, so I had been sponging as much knowledge as I could to understand how the stuff worked. And the more and more I understood how it worked, the more and more it made logic that our fabrics have changed. We're not wearing Champion t-shirts anymore, we're wearing performance fabric. And that's not just what we're wearing to the gym to sweat in, it's in everything. It's bath towel, sheets, everything. So. And
you realize that the laundry detergent that you're using is not working for this, so you're trying to take your idea from commercial and make it more residential.
Sure. So some real, in-home chemistry of testing it on my worst items, my gear and my apparel.
Right.
It really worked, and it wasn't a fragrance-based item, so I knew it was working because I wasn't masking anything. Whereas everything in the laundry category that has any type of mention of odor is heavily fragranced. So for me it was, and I think a lot of people have experienced this specifically with performance fabric, is I've washed it, I wear it to the gym, and halfway through my workout it doesn't smell so clean. So is it clean? And the more we dug into what we were doing, the more we realized there's opportunity to insert yourself into this very large category, as Jay mentioned.
And the category right now, it's about an $8 billion category. It's huge. But this is not just for professional athletes, right?
Oh no, this is that's what's the exciting part from our perspective is almost 70% of what most households are washing is some type of synthetic blend. So, like we had talked about, it's no longer just the stuff you wear to the gym. It's dress shirts, it's bath towels, it's sheets, it's everything that we're using is no longer 100% cotton. So this is kind of the lowest hanging fruit for us is that sweaty individual, but it's really a solution for all laundry.
And the website is, if anyone's, listening in, we have about 600,000 listeners, they want to say, oh, I want to get Hex Performance. What's the website?
Hexperformance.com.
Boy, we could have guessed that. This is Robert Reiss on the CEO Forum, where we speak with the CEOs who have reinvented the fabric of America. And we are here today with the CEO of Hex Performance, Jay Contessa, but also Drew Westervelt, who is the founder and a pro athlete who came up with this concept and is now the COO. So let's shift over back to Jay. And so here you come in. How did you guys know each other?
Yeah, it's funny. I got a call from Drew, and he introduced himself, and he said, "My aunt was your neighbor." And I asked him who his aunt was, and sure enough, Laura was my neighbor. And he explained to me, just like he just explained to everybody here, that about his idea. And he said, "But I think it really would work in laundry." So my first piece of advice was, it's a great idea, but I would not enter the laundry category. You're playing against P&G and the Goliaths, and everybody thinks they have a good idea, but most of the times they really don't pan out. But being young, I have kids, that age, and I said, he's got the spirit. I'll go down and I'll meet with him. And I learned what you just learned about this, about the formula, about what it really does, and that it really works. And so that, to me, was exciting, because there hasn't been an innovation in this category in so long, and to have something that we all can use was really exciting.
And you were at Unilever for 29 years or so, but
Correct.
You're saying, really, you were in the laundry category.
Correct.
There have not been any innovations like this over that entire period.
No, to what Drew pointed out, we all used, an oxy or a fragrance to so-called mask the odor. Right, so if you couldn't smell it, you thought it was clean. But I think everybody's experienced that, what Drew said, that, I put this garment on, it just came out of the wash, but just a few minutes after it's on, the heat of my body, all of a sudden I could smell that odor. So what a lot of people have done now is encapsulation of fragrance. So they trick you. So if they put enough fragrance on there, encapsulation,
Which is
as you're
even
going,
worse.
It's worse.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So Drew, what was this like for you? You're an athlete. Once you try this, what were you telling everyone? You try this, like, oh my gosh, I have this huge problem, this mountain, and I sort of have a new solution.
Well, I mean, it's definitely not a sexy topic, but I mean, in a locker room, it's not a pleasant area when you're talking about equipment, and whether it's hockey, lacrosse, football, things of that nature, because a lot of the equipment's never washed, because you can't, because it's rigid, right? So for me, it was eye-opening, and at the time, like I said, I was traveling every weekend, so it became a joke in the locker room of, I'd treat my stuff with this, and it would be multiple weeks before I'd have to treat it again, because it was performing. It was actually removing what was in the garment, whether gear or apparel, and then it was preventing odor.
So were people around you saying, wait, what's happening here?
Yeah, so I mean, it became a kind of a joke
Your
in the locker room.
teammates are like, you're joking about it.
Yeah. But for me, it's
Now you're the one who was the last laugh.
yeah, but it's a bit of a simple pleasure, right? Like, no one wants to be, when you're working out or in an athletic setting, be, smelling yourself. It's just not. But when I really understood what I was smelling, it's really mold, mildew, and bacteria, then it becomes a different issue.
Okay,
right?
so talk through from more of the chemical side, mold, mildew, and bacteria. And you have about 2 minutes till break. Where does that really fit in? Why that's such a differentiator in laundry detergent?
Yeah, definitely. I think we mask these things that remain in our fabric, and a lot of things that remain in our fabric are either body oils, mold, mildew, bacteria from a source of sweat, and a lot of times it's just masked. So where we got lucky is we just didn't start with a traditional laundry base. We started with a commercial cleaning base that was highly effective on synthetics. So we immediately entered the category with a completely different formulation than all other products in the category, because they're all based on cotton. So one, we had to get into the fabric, a plastic, a hard surface, get out what's in it, and then leave behind a technology that coats it and inhibits these stains, these odors, these types of things from coming back and causing havoc.
Are you allowed to say like what your special sauce is? Or is that like the Big Mac? You can't say.
I mean, it's a really cool ingredient that's very difficult to blend. that basically.
You're holding it close to the vest. You're not going to tell anyone else. You got this brilliant, invention, and you're just going to. Well, you bring it to everyone. Think about how many, just even soccer moms. I mean, everywhere you go, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's our opportunity.
Okay, so this is Robert Reiss on the CEO Forum. We are about to take a break, and when we come back, we are now going to hear how do you take something and turn it into a business. Back in a few. Hi, this is Robert Reiss on the CEO Forum, and we're here today with the founder, Drew, and the CEO, Jay, of Hex Performance, and this is the first laundry detergent unlike anything else, which actually started from a commercial base, we heard, and then you moved it into cleaning. What does it clean? Everything. Clean shirts, not just high performance, it could clean
all your laundry.
See, you're saying the whole problem with laundry detergent, and I want to ask you, Jay, this. So it's an $8 billion industry. You were with Unilever for 29 years. Is everything just really masking? They're not really truly cleaning it. They're just masking, in a sense, the odor.
Yeah, and I think it's the way they grew up. I think Drew brought up a good point, is that, the big companies have a way of doing business, right? They've been making these formula, these products forever, and they've always performed. What happened in front of their eyes is the fabrics have changed.
Oh, so that's the thing. So that still works on all the old fabrics, on the cottons,
right.
But because everything is now synthetic,
right.
It's just really
right.
changing it, and there's no solution.
Right, and so for a big company, when those types of things happen, they're gradually happen, but to turn your business around to go address certain things, it's like turning the Queen Mary around. You just don't do that. Because they're all based on that operation of cleaning those cottons. That's the way they've been doing it for 100 years. And to Drew's point, we came at it from not looking at traditional cottons. We came at it looking at it from the synthetic side. So that is a completely different chemistry. It's a completely different way you have to make it. It's a completely different type of operation. So for us, it's unique, and for them, it would be, it's a whole different world for them.
And all your CEOs listening in, there's a great lesson here, which is when a category starts to change, new opportunity will emerge if you're able to innovate, and especially if you have someone like Drew, who is a true user and only wants something that really works.
Yeah, performance.
So now let's talk to, you have this great idea, you come together, but you got to start a company, you got to get customers. How do you go about that?
For us, it's been, really meeting great people and a little bit of luck. From my background's in lacrosse, and it's created a lot of interesting networks. Basically got a meeting with Target because of lacrosse. And the head of the household cleaning category happened to be, at the time, happened to be a Yale alum. And I got an intro to him, so we took a meeting and gave some product to him, and we had a deck. We presented our points of difference, and got great feedback. And he said, "We'll do something."
And Jay, at the time, you've been through hundreds of these meetings, so you're probably thinking, on something totally new. You're not selling to Target the first time. I mean, you're smiling right now saying that.
Yeah, I mean, those meetings, I told Drew from the very beginning, it's tough sledding. These buyers are very demanding. That real estate is very valuable. So for them to take something out, remember, there's no new space in a retailer. So you got to take something out that's non-productive to put something in that they believe would be more productive. So we had to really convince them. And what Drew had mentioned earlier is when that buyer tried it, that became the card in, because lacrosse player, knew about the issue. Went home and tried it and called us back up and said, this item works. And why wouldn't I want to put an item in that works? So it kind of like we got started from there.
That's great. So talk about other clients that you may, or customers who you may have worked with, and what happened there.
Yeah, Wegmans is a great example.
Wegmans is one of the always top 10 best companies to work for.
Correct.
Amazing organization.
Right, great people. And I called the buyer, Dave Tantillo, and I said, "Hey, Dave, got this great idea." Explained it to him, and Dave said, "I've looked into this stuff. Nothing works. I've tried everything. I've been the laundry buyer. I got any kind of product I want to use. But he goes, hey, send it up to me. I got 3 boys. I'll give it a shot. Week later, Dave calls me back. He says, you're in Wegmans. He says,
wow.
You know,
You were like, wow.
Yeah. We're like, okay, now what do we do? You got to, now you got to get ready for that, right? But it was the exact same thing happened. Is that the trial was the key to our success.
That's the sign of a great product.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this, Drew? I mean, it's pretty exciting for you.
No, to Jay's point, the original meetings were very energizing, right? They still are energizing, but you know, the opportunity for Hex is now once we get the opportunity on shelf, the same process needs to happen to the end user, right? We need to go capture them to drive that trial, and that's the exciting part of our business now, is how can we be really innovative in how we interact with the consumer to say, a lot of consumers we learn blame the fabric. They don't blame their aftercare or their detergent. So for us, the opportunity is how do you interact with someone where they're going to reconsider their laundry product, and that's where the fun is now.
So talk about, what are your goals?
Yeah,
From each of you. So Jay, you're the president. What are the goals? Here you have something. There's proof of the pudding that it works, but you're not a well-known brand
Right.
yet by everyone. A lot of people use it, like Bill in my company.
Yeah.
Use it, loves it.
Right. It's just really finding more bills, right? That's the name of the game now. But what we have learned, we've learned a lot of great lessons along the way, trial and error through a lot of different, tools and tactics. But what it really came down to is that it's the Bill experience, I'll call it, is when people try it, they absolutely get it right away. And so our goal now is, how do we get more people to try? So we're looking at different vehicles now that will create the trial. So we have a program called, and we call it POS, so it's points of sweat.
Oh,
so
good.
How do you go to a gym or a yoga studio where those people coming out are sweating, and it's top of mind now, right? They're conscious of that. And now you give them a sample and you say, go home and try this. And then if you like it, it's right there at your local Harris Teeter or your local Target. And that we've seen is to be tremendously successful, because people do try it and they do run over to that store and they do buy it.
And again, the website is?
It is hexperformance.com.
Okay, so we have time, about a minute and a half. Drew, I want to ask you one final question, which is about changing careers, changing paths in a way. So here you are, an athlete, for many years, a well-known athlete, and all of a sudden you pivot and you change to a new career where now you're chief operating officer and founder of this business in consumer products. What did you learn, and what advice do you have to others who want to do the same?
I mean, for me, it's not a big departure from the same thing as an athlete. For me, it was, no one as an athlete likes to watch film, because it's not a highlight reel a lot of times. It's real, and there's good and there's bad. And I think what I've learned is through our time together is kind of celebrate the successes and learn from the failures. We're trying to fail fast and grow quicker. So for me as an athlete, I hated watching film because it was all the negative stuff is where my mind went. As a COO and working with Jay, I'm just looking at data of what's really working. And even if we're wrong, that's okay. What do we learn from it? For me, it's the same thing. Watching film as an athlete is the same thing as I look at Hex. And it's the same source of energy for me.
And there you have it. We have been speaking with the founder and CEO of Hex Performance. That's hexperformance.com. Look for it, ask about it, and use it. Great having you on the CEO Forum.
Great. Thank you.